Well, again, I suppose it's a case of, is new better? Is it necessarily better? Are you doing it just for the sake of Christmas? Is it something that you really need? Could you repair, recycle, give to charities, as I said before, rather than just taking it to the dump?
That was Nigel Crespel, and you're listening to the Bailiwick Podcast with me, David Conway. With the festive season coming to a close, an island is thinking about throwing old items out. One man is encouraging both the government and locals to be more aware about what they can reuse and repair. Inspired by the BBC series of the same name, Nigel Crespel has spent the last year repairing items for islanders from his repair shop overlooking the English Harbour, and has already had droves of islanders looking for a fix. I sat down with him during a day of work at the repair shop to discuss all things sustainability and what Jersey can do to bring itself into a more recycle-friendly future.
Now, firstly, I'd like to ask how you first got into repair works.
Well, it happened years ago, actually, when I was a boy, aged about 12, and my father said that his gramophone wasn't working. So one Saturday I decided I'd take it to bits and took the innards up to my bedroom, put it on the floor, which was nylon carpet. And I was in shorts, and I plugged it in and was fiddling around with it, and my knee touched the chassis and I was thrown across the bedroom, which shocked me terribly. But I decided I wanted to find out why that happened, and did a lot of research and started getting into it from a really early age, and that's how it started.
And moving on from there, where did you go, once you'd sort of started growing up, getting into it on a more professional level?
Well, in fact, it didn't really start until very much later on, because I found out there was more money to be made in retail than there was in electronics in those days. So I went down that path, and it wasn't until very much later on that I bought a company that had a service part to it, and I developed the service part and started actually repairing it from my garage. I had a single garage, and I started doing repairs in there as a sort of a part-time thing, and then the single garage became a double garage, and then this year I was falling all over myself in the garage because it just wasn't enough space, and this place came up, and I took it on.
And do you think there's really been an interest from the BBC programme and other things in recent years in repair that hasn't been there previously?
I think it's definitely taken off since the programme, but we've seen an enormous increase in people bringing stuff into us to be repaired or restored, and I think people are aware that there is an environmental impact if you start throwing things away. With the recent COP event that happened, which was televised, and it was a national forum for the environment, I think people became very much more aware of the impact that throwing stuff away has. And we as an island need to step up the mark. Our government are not doing enough about it. We've got what they call a reclamation site, but it's not really a reclamation site or recyclable park. They call it a recycle centre, but it's not. They don't recycle electronic items at all. They separate them out from metals and plastics and wood. The only thing I think they actually recycle is compost from household waste. But everything else is shipped off island. And because we are right on the route to the reclamation site, I think people are finding it very much easier just to stop at us and bring stuff in. I think people are very much more aware now.
And since you've had this influx of people coming in with things, can you talk about some of your most proud or interesting repairs you've done since you've started?
Well, I've had a couple of jukeboxes, one there from Nizage, which are privately owned, and another one at the back. I've got a carousel which I'm working on, which I'm hoping to get finished next week. I even had a donkey in the first week, which had a broken neck. So yeah, there's been some really interesting and challenging items, but we get a cross-section of products, anything really, from heated blankets to kettles to toasters to computers to hi-fi amplifiers, televisions, you name it, we do it.
And what's been the most challenging of those as well, the ones that have really sort of stopped you in your step and you've had to take a lot of time on?
Well, I think the carousel's probably been the most challenging one because it is very old and the whole thing had collapsed and I had to really rebuild it from scratch. So that's taken a lot of time and I can't spend all day, every day on it. So I've been doing it piecemeal over quite a few months just to make sure it's right and working. And the other one is actually the jukebox, especially this one here, because it was completely, well, it just wasn't working at all. And there's no diagrams you can get for it nowadays, so it's a case of literally taking it to bits and finding out how it works and finding out what is wrong with it, trying to remake parts for it and rewire and make it so that it works.
So moving back to what we were talking about with island-wide response to repair, sustainability, recycling, what can islanders do and what can the government do to move forward and try and create a more sustainable Jersey?
I actually was thinking about it, and I think what the French do is brilliant. They have separate colour bags and separate bins for each household, which the local parishes provide, and they are all separated before it gets to the recycling centre. So the recycling centre, then all they have to do is literally separate it within the centre. And I think the government need to think more about what they do with it and how they deal with it. I think they need to invest in companies like myself and other companies that I know are trying to do this, in providing support for them so that there is more recycling done, more separation done. And I think as far as customers are concerned, just become more aware of what you're doing when you're buying something new or throwing something away. Just, get it fixed first. Whether it's get it fixed and then sell it on or give it to a charity or whatever it is, let's just please not just dump it.
What are some of the key things islanders should keep in mind this Christmas when it comes to maybe items that they could actually keep that they might not think to keep?
Well, again, I suppose it's a case of is new better? Is it necessarily better? Are you doing it just for the sake of Christmas? Is it something that you really need? Could you repair, recycle, give to charities, as I said before, rather than just taking it to the dump? I mean, some of the things that are taken to the dump there's nothing wrong with them, or they've got a minor fault with them, but we're throwing thousands and thousands of pounds away every year. And it just seems criminal because some people just cannot afford to buy new stuff. And it would be great to have an opportunity for them to be able to buy something that has been used before, which is in perfect working order, and be able to give their children a better Christmas.
Are there any items in particular that you see getting thrown away that you think, oh no, you could actually keep that, you could actually do something with that?
Oh, there's loads of things. I mean, there's computer products, there is televisions, there's DVD players, which people still want. There's so many different things that are being thrown away. There's not one particular one that I can think of, but there's certainly lots and lots of things that are being thrown away. And I believe that a lot of them are being thrown away because people have just bought new and they don't want to. They can't be bothered to do anything else about them. So I'm sort of hoping that people will start getting on board with this and start bringing stuff in to be looked at.
And in terms of islanders who are listening to this or have, thought about getting into repair themselves, what advice would you give them?
Well, be safe with it. Certainly have a go. And I would suggest that you start with the small stuff rather than the big stuff, because especially things like microwaves, which are quite dangerous to people that are not experienced. But certainly have a go. There is a repair cafe, the repair cafe that runs in St Brellard's, which runs once a month, I think. And you can take stuff along there, make a donation, I think, and they will repair stuff in front of you. And I think it's a great opportunity for people to go along and have a look, see what's being repaired.
And for you as well, obviously, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at an influx of items right now around me. What is next for the repair shop? Are you looking to expand? Are you looking to do even more projects?
Yes, the idea is to move forward with the State of Jersey recruitment scheme, where you can take on apprentices and train some people up, and hopefully give some opportunities to some young people that want to get into repairs, maybe even retired engineers or electronic engineers or electricians even, that want to do some part-time work. And we will expand, but obviously with expansion comes a reduction in space, so we'll probably have to get a bigger premises at some point.
And really, finally, if there was a message you wanted to get out to islanders this Christmas about sustainability, about repair, what would that be?
Don't throw it away, bring it to me.
Thanks to Nigel Crespel, and thank you for listening. You can find the podcast in all of the usual pod places, and don't forget to like and share. The music at the beginning and end of this podcast is I Shift My Weight by Luno. More next week.